Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf Committee of the Whole meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to our new second ward councilperson, Connor Flaherty, who's with us this evening. Connor. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there and running a campaign to come join us. We are excited to have you.
Good to be here, Your Honor.
All right, let's work on our consent agenda items. First up is consent E. This is our annual review of the Premiering Bettendorf Comprehensive Plan. And for that, we welcome our Community Development Director, Mark Hunt, and Greg Beck. Thank you, gentlemen, and the team for the work you've done on this. And thank you, too, for being here tonight.
Thanks, Your Honor. Thanks, Council. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I have this report for you. It basically sums up our work towards the comprehensive land use plan over the past year. We've talked about this in other meetings, but I wanted to kind of go through it one more time, and then we request that at tonight's meeting you receive and file. So without further ado, the lens here is July 2024 to July 2025. So some of the things kind of have a weird lens about them because it's like we're not talking about things that actually happened that we know happened. But just in your mind, just kind of think summer of 24 to summer of 2025, all the work we did and our developers and our business community did to help us reach our comprehensive land use plan goal. The lion's share of the work here was done by Greg. He really did all the research, collected all the data. Just a reminder, what we're trying to do is track ourselves to the land use plan. And we're asking ourselves, does the pattern of development that we've seen occur, does it match the plan development that we had in the plan? Hopefully the answer is yes. That's kind of my job. If the answer is no, I got some explaining to do. The answer is yes. If you were worried, the answer is yes.
Good job, Lucy.
And we're only 1 year out. So, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you might start to see some departures from what we envisioned and what is getting built. And then we'd have to adjust, right? We'd course correct, make a new plan, what have you. So really, let's just kind of summarize the major developments, kind of walk you through the history of the year that was. We'll show you how those relate to the plan, how they're in compliance with the plan, if you will. And then we'll talk about some next steps. And I'm going to ask Greg to jump in whenever, especially if my voice gives out, because I am fighting the Thanksgiving cold. Key land uses, right? We have annexations, future land use map changes, rezonings, plats, site development plans. You're very familiar with all of these, I know. You shouldn't see a lot of future land use map changes 1 year into your comp plan. If you are, then you didn't do a very good job of your future land use map, in my opinion. That's the crown jewel of the land use plan, right? That future land use map says, this is how we want the city to look in broad brush strokes. It's the precursor to zoning. So it's really important. It's the crown jewel of the plan. The other thing I think that's really important part of the plan is the annexation strategy. And that leads us off to our first topic. We did have an annexation this year. It was in keeping with our plan up on the northeast corner of Bettendorf, the old Blunk farm. If you remember it that way, that's how I remember it. But that's the first one in probably 50 years of that magnitude. 80 acres, going to have some single family homes on it, potentially new public school on it, and then also some commercial up at the top near Interstate 80. It definitely aligned with our annexation strategy. It was one of our growth areas that's identified in our plan. So we were happy to see that come through. Several rezonings, and for most of these, I'm just picking highlights for y'all, but maybe the biggest rezoning of the year, certainly close to it, if not the biggest one, was the rezoning along Middle Road for the new hospital, Mercy Genesis 1. Lined up well with our plan, right? We wanted to see that area developed. This is just that south of the TBK land. This is the echo development, as I call it. So you had that big investment the city made and our developers made at TBK. Now you're seeing the echo south of it. And I think you're going to see some echo development north of it next year when I do this report as well. But you also saw some rezonings downtown. So you have a healthy downtown that's generating kind of a churn, if you will. We're taking some small lot residential, turning those into probably commercial where they really should be, the way our downtown is growing. So you see that R2 to commercial. This is at the old post office, which was odd to me that it was R2 anyway, because the post office doesn't really feel residential to me. So I think this is a great and natural rezoning. We platted some land, so we divided some land up. Just a couple highlights here. Of course, we have that new piece of ground that we annexed. There's the initial plat for that area with your 88 or 44, half of your subdivision done in that rezone or in that plat. But you also have plats on the interior of town where you've got those last kind of vestiges of Bettendorf that haven't maybe developed yet, but they're coming to play. So Ridgehaven off Crow Creek Road. If you think of where the big wall on Crow Creek Road is, up that hill, a little harder area to develop, but it's come into play now because we filled in so much of the town with other development that maybe those more, steep sloped areas are coming online. Developers are enticed to buy them and subdivide them. And so you have that with Ridgehaven here as well. 27 lots, I believe, in that one. Greg, if I missed anything yet?
Nope, you're seeing, like Mark said, these infill areas, finally being chewed up. And this is a very difficult one, but this creates also connectivity too for the future. Something that we didn't have for quite a while up to 53rd Avenue. And now we're going to be seeing that once this gets further north.
Yeah, north-south is always a challenge at Bettendorf. So whenever we get north-south connectivity, we really like to see it as planners. Remember I talked about the eco development around TBK land? Here's a great example. Talking site development plans now. QCR Holdings, Quad City Bank and Trust has a site that is certainly under construction by now, but here's what the plan looked like, at least from a graphic artist standpoint, of a new headquarters bank, back office, 300 some employees, again, just on that south side of TBK. So you're seeing finance, medical, kind of springing up around your sports entertainment complex. Certainly is congruent with the plan, aligns in many ways. One we spend a lot of time on as staff and you as a council. This is the architectural site plan or the architectural view site plan for Forest Grove and Middle Road. I'm sorry, Forest Grove and 53rd. This is where we had potentially some concern about future uses like gas stations and things like that. We landed a really nice development here. You've got a Whitey's, you've got a Hungry Hobo as anchors. You're going to have some commercial in here as well. So maybe larger commercial, salon style commercial here. These three buildings are under construction right now. So you're already seeing those. I think Whitey's opens in a few days, honestly. Really worked hard on this one, worked with the developer, had a new builder developer come in, take over the project. And I think we landed something that everybody's gonna be really happy with. I like the open space. I like that busy corner having this facility or these services on it. And was well buffered from the other residential uses. And certainly, fits right into that land use plan. With these big major corners, we picked them out for commercial development, and that's what we got landed there. And no gas station. So it'll take that off the map. Big conclusions, and I don't know, Decker's not giving me the time yet. Really, I think downtown redevelopment efforts continue to make progress. They're incremental, but they're still there. We're still seeing those rezonings downtown. That's a good sign, in my opinion. Single family residential is strong. In fact, today I saw four homes come in just since I was gone for Christmas or Thanksgiving break to today. We had 4 homes come in. You're still seeing some of the market change to that townhouse style development. That's what the market wants, but Bettendorf still has a lot of that single family development as well. And it feels really balanced to me. We talked about a lot of stuff out by DBK, but we also talked about some stuff downtown and some infill development. So we're not leapfrogging. We're filling in nicely. I think that's important from a city service perspective. In providing those services that we're not just sprawling out. We're doing the downtown development, the midtown development, and the development on the frontier as well. Right now, we don't have recommended changes for you, but I will provide the caveat that we think, and we've talked to Mr. Jager about this extensively, we think we want to look at our downtown plan and our comprehensive plan and make sure we're really well aligned. Now, we spent a lot of time doing that when we did the updates to both. We did them in tandem, but there may be room to maybe make some additional changes or refinements is maybe the word I would use. What I want to do is give you an inventory of what those might be and then bring them back to this body. You have to give me a little bit of time, bring them back to this body for review, and maybe you go, hey, let's change this one, and maybe that one we don't want to change. They're 2 different plans, but they go together. So we want to make sure that they align. And then if we do change them, which one do we change? That's kind of the first question. And then how do we change it? So we're going to work on an inventory of those potential changes for you over the next 6 months, if that's okay. That's going to be Greg's job for the most part. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And Greg, if I missed anything, please jump in.
Questions? Anybody? Fantastic. Then I'd like to entertain a motion that this remain on tonight's agenda as consent item E.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank your staff and team for us. We know you're always hard at work and we appreciate that. We'll take this up as consent E this evening. Let's move to consent F. For that, we welcome, excuse me, our Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. John Burns. John, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Council, so tonight in front of you, we'll have the professional services agreement for the feasibility study of Forest Grove Park. Just to get you caught up on the process thus far, we had city staff interviewed about 4 consultants after issuing an RFQ, RFP. We interviewed 4 firms that were all incredibly talented, end up selecting Shive Hattery to recommend going forward with tonight. This is going to build, as you will all recall, we have in 2013, we did a master plan with RDG on all sorts of programs at Forest Grove Park. Since then, of course, there's been about $100 million worth of sports, tourism investment in that area. And it's kind of completely changed the dynamic of what Forest Grove Park could even potentially be. The goal from this study is to start testing those specific ideas. I don't need more, we don't need to keep throwing stuff at the wall. Now it's time to see what sticks. So they're going to go test what works there. Is it athletic fields or this? What does the public want to see? Importantly, what does the council want to see? Council will be included in multiple work sessions throughout the feasibility study, as well as other shareholders and public, as I mentioned before. We're going to come out of this with the cost opinion. That includes everything from operating costs to capital costs. Even if we could snap our fingers today and I got a $40 million grant and we went and built something, it doesn't do much good if I'm going to come to you and say, hey, I need you to subsidize it for $500,000 a year. So we're going to make sure what we build is right sized, and that'll be important for what Shive Hattery is going to study in this process. So this process is going to include creating an advisory committee. We're going to be working with the mayor and Decker to get a well-rounded advisory committee of folks who are interested in helping get this park head in the right direction with council input on it the whole way. So this has been, Forest Grove Park is something we've discussed a lot, and we're really excited to move the process forward tonight.
John, real quick, any changes to the information you provided us at the work session that we had?
No, there's been none further.
You briefed us there at length. Okay. Second, I know we've been working on putting together this committee. There'll be representatives, multiple from council, in our opinion, as well as council work sessions where you'll be speaking directly to us about, and with your consultant, well, what you found in public meetings and what certain cost shares might be, where things may be headed. So they'll have multiple meetings where we're together as a council to help guide this process.
That's right. That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Other questions for John? Nick?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple questions on timeline. What are we looking at from a sort of, when do you think this will be wrapped up? What are we looking for final reporting, John?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't want to go any longer than 6 months. My goal is 4 months.
Jerry?
Thank you, Your Honor. Do we have a draft copy of the contract that council members could look at the draft contract just to see exactly what it says?
Yeah, yes, we do. I believe that it was included in the, I have a copy of it here I can get to you, but if it was not included in the council packet.
It's in the packet.
Yeah.
We all know you were
It's
out of
already in the
town.
packet,
Yep,
okay.
we all know you were out of town. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I'm not coming down on you for driving all day in the snowy
Thank you.
conditions.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Greg, hey.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to have this removed from consent and put on the regular agenda for tonight.
So we have a motion
Second.
and a second to move it to the regular agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we can move that to the regular agenda. Any other questions for John?
No, sir.
Okay, we've got it on the regular agenda. I assume that'll come in at 5, since we don't have a whole lot on that agenda.
Yep.
Well, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at the remaining consent agenda items. We do not have a long agenda for this evening, typical of December. Any other items on consent we'd like to discuss at this time? Can I entertain a motion that all remaining consent agenda items are taken up on the consent agenda for this evening?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Since our only item to appear, we just moved from consent. Is there any discussion about that item? Okay. I don't have anything to add to tonight's agenda. Anybody else have something to add? Yeah, City Administrator Decker Plain, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I sent a little note about an hour and a half ago. Just want to make sure you know that we have an opportunity. Lyle is going to be back in the area, working between the Des Moines area and Dubuque in early January. And we had potentially talked about, because of Connor and Scott not participating necessarily in our goal setting, that we might want to have the opportunity for a little review there for 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday morning. He suggested January 11th, so I'd like you to take a look at your calendars, see if that might fit for you, and if we're interested in doing that, so we could consider him. So we just need for you to take a look at that. We don't need an answer
Yeah,
tonight.
not right this minute.
We'll have a discussion, but I want to make sure that you knew that we had that opportunity.
And I think conceptually, that's a good idea for both Connor and Scott, and hadn't hurt us to continue to work together as our team. So let's look at that. Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
How about a second?
I gave it to front. Give Connor a second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Good work, people. We will see you in 13 minutes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf City Council meeting. As I'll scroll down, it's 7 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock or 6:30 when we met before. All right, Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Adamson.
Here.
Jaeger.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Flaherty.
Here.
Sexer.
Here.
Baden.
Here.
Balzinski.
Here. Thank you all for being here. Now, if you could all please rise, remove any caps or headdresses you may have, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by an invocation given by Pastor Tim Bonney of Asbury United Methodist Church. Please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Tim, thank you for being here.
Gracious and loving God, I thank you for this opportunity to share in a moment of prayer as the Bettendorf City Council gathers. I pray that you would bless their work tonight, bless their efforts as they do all they do to care for the citizens of Bettendorf. In this December, I thank you for all the groups that are celebrating holidays and holy days in this month, and pray that you would bless them in their celebrations and that you would help this to be a good time of family and your blessings. In thy name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Okay, we've come to public requests of council. If there's anybody here who wishes to be heard on an item not already on tonight's agenda for public hearing, of which we have none, now is the time to make your request of council, and you may do so by approaching the podium in the back. Please state your name and your address. We'd like to hear from you. Anybody here for public requests? Okay. We'll close public requests of council. We'll move to item 5. Who's going to handle item 5? Frank, can you please handle that? Councilmember Baden, please excuse me.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving the professional service agreement with Shive Hatterley Incorporated for completion of the feasibility study for Forest Grove Park. I move approval of this resolution.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Councilmember Adamson, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've got several problems with this. I'm not pleased with the way the company was picked. It was nothing against the staff, but it was 3 staff members. I don't like the price tag, $100,000. Seems like an awful lot of money. I don't agree with the, I guess, the description of what they're going to be looking at. It still includes things like, sounds like structures. And I just think it's way too much money, and I don't like the process that was used to get to where we're at tonight. And I do not support spending $100,000 for this study. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Greg Jaeger?
Thank you, Your Honor. Councilmember Edison and I have talked on several occasions about this, and I definitely support some of his concerns. but I've also talked to the city administrator today, who tells me that this feasibility study was something that was discussed by the council during goal setting and apparently approved by the council at goal setting.
Yes.
And having gone through that process, and apparently with the council's approval, I see no reason to revisit the issue. I have a tendency to stand in front of too many trains as it is. So, Your Honor, while I support Councilmember Adamson, I will be voting in favor of it.
Is that why you have your coat on tonight? So the train will see you
Trying
early
to get him
on?
to stop.
Let's discontinue that practice altogether. No more trains. Anybody
At
else?
least let's make them quiet.
Well, I'm with you. Yes, Councilmember Pelzinski?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. And I would echo some of what Councilmember Jager and Adamson said. While I don't love the price tag on this, I do believe that the Forest Grove Park has the opportunity to become a flagship park for us. I mean, there's a ton of land out there. I think by making this initial investment, it will help to cement more of the strategy for what we're looking to do out there. And so I've decided I will support this initiative as it comes to vote tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Flaherty?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to echo what we've heard from us. $100,000 is a lot of money that we can use towards other things in our park. So I would challenge that we really are clear on the deliverables that we're getting from the feasibility study. And I'd like to challenge our Parks Department that spending this money, that we have very clear commitments of what the next steps are going to be, that we're using that $100,000 that leads to a product that leads to good parks and an amenity to our city, and make sure that we're being considerate of that when we're spending $100,000 for a study that doesn't put another park, doesn't put another soccer field or ballpark in our city.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm also concerned about the cost, and I'm particularly concerned about the cost estimates. I mean, this started out at 75 and now it's 100, having a 33% increase in cost seems to me we're missing the boat on our estimates up front. So I guess I would challenge staff to take a look at future projects and contracts to give the council a little bit better cost estimates. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown?
Say a couple of things with what everybody said. I'm glad we're moving ahead because I've been involved with this since we bought the property, and the RFPs we have both been different with the amenities that have been in there. But we've got a new parks person and we need to move ahead, I think, with, working towards some progress as far as getting some stuff done. I think the amenities, there's been so many different thoughts on what should go in there. We've got a little bit of it budgeted coming up. I know John's wanting to get going on some grants and fundraising and that type of thing. So I think we need to do this to get some stuff identified. I know the cost has been an issue. I think that $75,000 was identified, I think, before we actually went out to hire somebody. I agree with Alderman Adamson as far as the way it was done with staff. That was kind of disappointing. So, but I'm glad we're moving ahead. I'm glad there's going to be the opportunity for input by council, whomever discussed the infrastructure in there. I know I'm concerned with some of the buildings that are being identified, but it sounds like we're going to have the ability to have some input, as we go along. So, because that was a concern, but I am supportive of getting this going as far as, we need to identify and look at the feasibility to start identifying money, because it is going to be, as far as Nick said, a premier point as far as one of the areas in the park system.
Councilmember Baden?
Thank you, Your Honor. I agree with what everybody said about the cost, but I have another concern, and that is once this is done, that we will follow through with some action on it that it won't go up on that shelf behind your desk like it did on the last Parks and Recreation Director and draw dust from 2013 till now. Because that was not, I think it cost somewhere around $50,000, if I remember right, for that one. That was a waste of money. I don't want to see us waste money on this one. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Adamson, back to you.
In my short tenure here on the council, that was a joke. I always respect the opinion of my fellow council people. So I'm going to go ahead and support, not that it's going to make any difference if I vote for or against, but I'm going to make it unanimous because I respect everyone's opinion at this table. So I know it's going to sound like I'm flip-flopping, but that's why I'm doing it.
Anybody else? Okay, Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Sexer,
Aye.
Baden,
Aye.
Palczynski,
Aye.
Adamson,
Aye.
Jaeger,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Flaherty.
Aye.
Okay, we have unanimously approved our feasibility study off and running. Mr. Burns. Let's move to our consent agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the same at this time.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion on anything on consent? Michelle, please call the roll.
Sexer,
Aye.
Baden,
Aye.
Palczynski,
Aye.
Adamson,
Aye.
Jaeger,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Flaherty.
Aye.
All right, we have unanimously passed each and every item on tonight's consent agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just a second.
Yes, Councilmember Baden,
Let's
would you
bring
like to
one
move
more
to
thing
adjourn?
up. I'd like to, Public Works Director isn't here tonight, but I thought that Public Works did an outstanding job on the recent snowstorm. And boy, they like pizza. Or no,
Tacos.
tacos.
Yeah,
Tacos.
we echo that and have made sure they know that we appreciate them.
Sounds like they're gonna need to get ready for this next one.
Yeah, another one's coming now.
It is the season. All right, let's adjourn if I can get a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Flaherty,
Second.
nice.
Give it to the new guy.
Who's
Yeah,
second? Who
and,
seconded?
Second?
No, you
So-
were first.
Flaherty and Sexer?
Yeah.
Got the second? All right. We stand adjourned. Good work, people.